Take two. The next time you do that, I'm leaving it in because it's going to be hysterical. Try it again. Am I okay?
Play it again, Sam.
Don't look at me, look at them. And a good spiritual morning to you once again. I'm Father Cosmas. Thanks for joining me today for a quick chat and, of course, our morning cup of coffee. And once again, I'm joined by my wife, President Michelle. We're already laughing. And we got our little Greek coffee cups again because we're talking about our visit to Greece. Today we're talking about going to Thessaloniki, and we went there to see your family.
Yes, my aunt and my first cousin both live and have always, well, in my lifetime, lived in Thessaloniki. My dad's only sister and my first cousin, Maria, they live literally in the city center.
How old's your Thea?
97.
Only 97.
And let me
Spry
tell
97.
you, she, as I met with her, she remembers things that I've forgotten. So
Of course.
that's what you do.
That's clean living.
That's clean living.
Yeah, so it was great to go there. We wanted to take a day trip. Actually, we went overnight.
Yes.
So we went just for the weekend because we have such close connections, especially, of course, to your family you have. I just had met them for the first time. Yeah. But to our spiritual family, to saints that are in Thessaloniki. So we got to go to the monastery to see the relics of Saint Paisios, the Athonite, who's just canonized recently. And also, of course, Saint Demetrius, who's the patron saint of Thessaloniki, because the parish that we served at for so many years in Chicago is dedicated to Saint Demetrius. So we were able to travel a little bit around the city and to see that. So we want to talk today about specifically just sort of the experience of being able to go to the monastery where Saint Paisios, his relics are, and also going to the main church in the city of Saint Demetrius. And so what's your connection? Like, we feel a connection to the saints, but Saint Paisios specifically.
So I feel, I had heard stories. We both have friends and family who actually met him when he was alive on Mount Athos. But there's something about the last, I would say, maybe 15 years of our life, we started reading everything we could get our hands on when it came to St. Paisios. Sure. And so we felt very close to him, and they talk about that, obviously, in the spiritual life, that the saints are alive and you feel practically related to them. You feel like they're a relative because they've guided you and they've been a part of your life. So seeing his church was very emotional for me. I don't know if you felt the same way, but seeing
absolutely.
The church where he established the monastery for the women, and seeing where he's been laid to rest, it was just beautiful.
It was kind of powerful. One of the sisters that was there, one of the nuns, sort of let us kind of go in. I should say that we both have a very close friend, Father Chrysostomos, and I think we'll talk more specifically about that on the next video, just to be able to visit with him and the different things that we saw. But he was the one that kind of drove us around, was our tour guide, and very good friend for, so many years.
Yeah.
And but the nun let us go up, let me go into the altar and, of course, venerate the altar. But also we got to see the sort of spot in the church where St. Paisios actually would sit and pray. Yeah. So just to sort of feel like, she says, oh yeah, he used to sit right here. Like, it's nothing.
Yeah.
The saint used to sit right here during services and pray. And that was amazing and powerful because we both feel such a connection to St. Paisios. And the modern saints that are being canonized now, St. Paisios, if you can get your hands on anything written about him or by him, really try to read that. An amazing modern saint, literally, that we talk about and read. So it was beautiful to see where he lived and to be able to see, at least where he lived in the world,
right.
So to speak. He lived in Panaguda on Mount Athos and would see thousands of pilgrims, and became a spiritual father to people all over the world. And when they first opened the monastery and laid him to rest there, like, all of Greece showed up for the feast day. Like, there were hundreds of thousands of people coming. So it was amazing to see that. And then also down in the city center to see the Church of St. Demetrius and to be able to venerate the relics of St. Demetrius. We both feel the close connection to him because the church that we served in Chicago and the church that we were blessed to serve when it was built, a new church, was in honor of St. Demetrius. So that was really, really special. It was interesting. I have to say it was a little soured. I'm going to mention this. Maybe I should, but I'm going to say it. Of course, there are people that need help, and there are people everywhere in the world that need help. So there were people asking for help, and they were at the church. It's a big church. It's a huge landmark in the area.
In the middle of the city.
Yeah, and pilgrims are visiting. So if you need help, that's a place where you're going to be kind of planted and asking for help. Unfortunately, people needing help were in the church, and
and pulling on your sleeve while you're trying to pray.
It's a little bit rough.
Yeah.
So when you go into the church, it's a huge, beautiful basilica. There's no dome. The top of the ceiling is all kind of wood rafters. Off to the side, there's this kind of little chapel sort of area, and you walk in, people kind of line up, and you get your own turn to walk in, and that's where the relics are, in this huge, beautiful silver reliquary, and the crown on the top. And you kind of walk in, and there he is. And so I've been waiting for years to finally be able to go and to venerate the Saint Demetrius, and to be able to have that moment. And while I did that, someone walked in with me from the other side and was asking me for help. And again, I don't mind that people need help. It just kind of made it difficult.
You just wanted a moment.
I wanted a moment. And also, I could kind of tell that they weren't well and that they had some substance abuse issues. So that made it more difficult. So that kind of soured the experience a little bit for me in that moment. But also, I guess it was Christ reminding me that you don't get to sort of have something in the spiritual life by yourself. It's like it should be with everybody, and including everybody. That's people that are in need. And as a priest, I kind of thought about that, because I remember reading something about St. Paisios when he was talking to priests, saying, pilgrims would come by the thousands. He lived in his little hut. He would kind of send the key out so that people could open the gate. Then they would come in and wait and meet him. But when he needed to close his door and go in and pray, he could do that. And he would say to the priest, listen, I'm not a priest. I'm a monk. When I need to go in and pray, I can do that. You're a priest. You can never turn your back on people.
Wow.
When people come and ask you for something, you always have to give to the people first. And so I thought about that in seeing St. Demetrius, as someone kind of walked in next to me and tugged on me and said, do you have 10 cents to give me, or whatever they were asking for. And I thought, that's really what it means to be a Christian, and kind of a take-home for us to think about. Along with just having a close connection to the saints. And that's something that we really should try to have. We have patron saints. We have saints that we ourselves are named after. Our churches or our parishes are named after their saints. That should be a special bond and a special relationship. And when you get to go to Greece and actually see them and see where they lived and where they walked and where they taught, I mean, that's just amazing.
I think the other thing too is as more people become Orthodox and they wonder why, as lifelong Orthodox, we love going to see where people are buried. It might be something a little bit strange as they're coming into the faith. Something that hit me immediately of walking to his relics was the scent. And I think that when we talk about people who have died and we think that they're gone and buried, and we forget that the grace that's in them so St. Demetrius has been passed away 1,700 years.
1,600, 1,700 years.
And so the beautiful, and even our kids, you could smell it, and you smelled it. It just smells like a garden that you've never smelled before. Right. So I felt like it was a reminder for me again, and Father, our friend who was with us, who gave us the oil.
The myrrh.
And the myrrh, well, I'm sorry, oil from one monastery and myrrh from another. You can smell it in our house, wherever we have it. It's just alive. And the saints being alive is a huge part of our faith. And that was a take home for me.
Absolutely.
To see the saints and remember that I'm still praying to them, I'm still talking to them, I'm still asking them to intercede for us. But the smell is something that I cherish that, because it reminds me that our faith is alive. And that was a good reminder for me.
Yeah, St. Demetrius is known as a miroβλiti, right, as a myrrh flower. So from his bones is still flowing 1,700 years later, this fragrant sort of ointment that comes out that has been healing people for almost 2 millennium. It's amazing. And to have a little cotton ball with a little bit of that myrrh on it, and it literally smells up your whole house. And to sort of see that our faith and our theology and everything that it's so amazing and sort of can seem very, very above us and withdrawn from us, to see it in reality right there, that's amazing. So having a close connection with the saints, which is what we felt in Thessaloniki. We're going to do one more video on that, because I wanted to talk about the experience of being able to see our friend, Father Chrysostomos, and the experience of what that was like, because again, that was powerful and transformative. We'll talk about that next time as we try to continue talking about our visits to Greece and growing in Christ each and every day. Amen.